Hello guys, welcome to my channel. In this video we are going to see about the cubital fossa. So before going into the topic proper, let me mention you what are all the topics that we are gonna cover in this video. So the topics are the boundaries of the cubital fossa and then its contents, then the clinical anatomy. So first let us see about the boundaries of the cubital fossa. This cubital fossa, it is triangular in shape, right? So this cubital fossa is a triangular space. Since it is a triangular fossa, it has the following boundaries: a base, then the medial border, then a lateral border, and an apex. If we take a look at three-dimensional view, we could see that it has a floor and a roof. Let us see one by one what are all the structures that are forming the boundaries of cubital fossa. So this is the 3D view of upper limb on the right side. So for my convenience, I am just removing some structures. See this triangular space. This is called as the cubital fossa. Let us see the boundaries one by one. First, coming to the lateral boundary, see the lateral boundary, it is formed by the medial border of the brachioradialis. This muscle, this is the brachioradialis. So the lateral boundary, it is formed by the medial border of the brachioradialis. Right. Then coming to the medial boundary it is formed by the lateral border of the pronator teres muscle. This one is the pronator teres. So the medial border, it is formed by the lateral border of the pronator teres. Then coming to the base. Actually, the base is formed by the imaginary line joining the two epicondyles of the humerus. That is the medial epicondyle and the lateral epicondyle. The imaginary line joining the lateral epicondyle with that of the medial epicondyle forms the base of the cubital fossa. Then coming to the apex. So here you could see the apex of the cubital fossa. Actually, it is formed by the meeting point of the lateral boundary as well as the medial boundary. This apex of the cubital fossa, it is formed by the meeting point of the lateral border of the pronator teres with that of the medial border of the brachioradialis. Coming to the next topic, that is the roof of the cubital fossa. First, let me mention the structures contributing to the roof of the cubital fossa. Then we will be looking into that one by one. Right. So, skin, then superficial fascia, deep fascia, and then the bicipital aponeurosis. These four structures, they contribute to the roof of the cubital fossa. Again, I am repeating, they are skin, superficial fascia, deep fascia, and bicipital aponeurosis. So there is nothing much more to discuss about the skin, deep fascia, and bicipital aponeurosis, but the superficial fascia has some contents within it. Let us look into it. The contents of the superficial fascia are: first one is the median cubital vein. Here you could see this one is the median cubital vein. It connects the basilic vein with the cephalic vein. This cephalic vein, it accompanies a nerve along with it. That nerve is nothing but the lateral cutaneous nerve of the forearm. Here you could see the lateral cutaneous nerve of forearm. So this cephalic vein, it accompanies a nerve called the lateral cutaneous nerve of the forearm, and this basilic vein, it also accompanies a nerve along with this is the medial cutaneous nerve of the forearm. That's all about the contents of the superficial fascia. So again I'm repeating, the roof is formed by skin, superficial fascia. Now we saw the contents of the superficial fascia, and the deep fascia also contribute to the roof of the cubital fossa. Then the bicipital aponeurosis. Here you could see the biceps brachii, and this is the bicipital aponeurosis, this white color band. This is the bicipital aponeurosis, which also forms the roof of the cubital fossa. Coming to the next topic, that is the floor of the cubital fossa. Two structures mainly they contribute to the floor of the cubital fossa. One is the brachialis muscle and the other one is the supinator. Again I am repeating, the floor, it is contributed by the brachialis muscle as well as by the supinator. In order to have a clear-cut view on the floor of the cubital fossa, I am removing some structures. So I am removing the biceps brachii and the pronator teres and also the brachioradialis muscle. Here you could see the brachialis muscle, and here you can see the supinator. So the supinator muscle, particularly covering the upper portion of the radius, it contributes to the floor of the cubital fossa.